Every story has an ending. Does our quest to play the top 100 courses in 10 years have a good ending? I'm Nish,
I'm Chris. I'm Jim.
and we're here to guide you through this golfing journey. This is the Top 110 Golf Podcast. So we played Ganton in the Mizuno Pairs competition.
We did, yeah. First competitive round we played.
Every round is competitive, Chris.
Very true. The first officially competitive round we played.
How was the event for you? How did you find it?
How was the event for me? It was reasonably low key actually, wasn't it, in terms of the actual sort of overall event, which created quite a nice atmosphere actually. I think most people were there for the same reason as us, really, just to go and play Ganton rather than anyone being there particularly to go and win the competition. So it did feel kind of low key, didn't it? So we rocked up and we kind of signed in, and that was pretty much it in terms of like the official kind of setup, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, it was. I don't know. In my head, I had a bit more fanfare.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was thinking like big signs and kind of like, you know,
I kind of didn't know where to go when we arrived.
leaderboards and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was pretty low key, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if that happens early on though, because when I see their Instagram feed, that doesn't match up with what we got, I suppose.
Yeah, and I don't know whether, because I think there was like a 5-day Yorkshire thing going on, wasn't there? So we were towards the tail end of that 5 days, weren't we? So lots of other people had already played 3 or 4 days before us, hadn't they?
With the last tees on the last day.
All the merch had been stolen.
Well, I genuinely thought we were supposed to get a sleeve of golf balls, but we didn't get it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was part of the deal, but
Is that really why you went for a sleeve?
yeah, exactly. That's
the only reason we were there.
Yeah.
Must need some golf balls.
It was a bit.
But I think it was
low
well
key, but
oiled,
that was
wasn't it?
good.
Like everyone was kind of getting off. It was pretty organised, wasn't it? Like everyone was in the right place, at the right time. We were even kind of early to our tee, weren't we? So I think it was fairly well organised from that perspective.
Question for you: the guy who started us.
Yes.
Do you think he was a Ganton member, or do you think he worked for Golf Pairs?
Good question. I think Ganton.
He had a feel of Ganton about him, didn't he?
Definitely.
A bit old school. You know, had a really worn cricket sun hat.
Yeah. Looked like he'd been there quite regularly for the last few years, didn't he?
Didn't really have much bants. Just kind of was like.
Oh, it's day 5. So
Well, it's not day 5 at their course, though. It was only day 1 at their course. There's a 5-day Yorkshire event that they cover.
Okay.
So, but the lady who checked us in was great, and she ran us all through everything. And
Yes.
she introduced us to our pair, who actually were great, by the
Yeah,
way.
they were.
So
Yeah, they were
shout
good
out
value,
to,
weren't they?
Wayne and Anne-Marie. They
were good fun, weren't
they
they?
were great banter, weren't they? I think
Yeah.
it was a good introduction to
It
playing.
was. Yeah.
What was your first impressions of Ganton, actually? It's ranked 25th.
25th on
25th
our list,
on the
and
list.
all the other lists, it's in that mid-20s.
Yeah.
So it's pretty rare for them to be.
What did that do?
And I think it's
second
it's a fairly iconic entrance, I think, into Ganton, because it's like a really long, kind of narrow country road with like a white picket fence going all the way down the side of the course. So you're kind of driving through the course, but it's got that kind of oldie worldy kind of English vibe to it. And I think that's kind of sets you up for what Ganton is really. It's pretty old school. So like you kind of sat in the clubhouse, and it's, you know, there was a couple of members, wasn't there? A couple of sort of elderly lady members just kind of chatting away, and I was like, this is exactly what I was expecting from Ganton. Like,
Tell them what you saw about when I was taking the pictures.
what you got? Nish got the daggers. So Nish went in, and as Nish does in every clubhouse, he just gets his phone out and starts taking pictures of everything. So there's like a Ryder Cup replica trophy. So Nish was straight into the corner and starts taking pictures. And there's these two, like I say, fairly elderly ladies sat in the clubhouse having some lunch. And one of them just looked at him and was like, gave him absolute daggers for like having his phone out.
One of those mobile
Yeah.
telephones out with moving pictures.
While she was there eating a club sandwich with a stick through it.
Actually, to be fair, once I spoke to her,
But actually, they were lovely. Actually,
they
weren't
were great. Yeah.
But I think we were kind of going there prepped for it being a little bit uncomfortable and as a visitor, and probably not being that welcomed. But actually, maybe it was because it was a pairs event, but it didn't feel like that at all, did it? It was
It was a
the
takeover
clubhouse
of
was
that
pretty
club,
open,
wasn't it?
and you could just kind of wander in and do what you wanted. It didn't seem to be any kind
I think
of
with that
obtuse
event,
rules.
I sort of thought somebody like myself who does geek out a little bit on the clubs and just a tiny bit history stuff, you know, and I'll do the old reading all the plaques and whatever. But
Yeah.
like we wouldn't have got that access to the clubhouse because we wouldn't have got into the Varden room to start, which was jacket and tie normally.
Yeah.
But
Nish is walking through with his trainers and he's,
Yeah,
he's got his
that's
mobile
it,
phone
was.
in
Hat
front
on,
of him.
everything, the lot. It was like, but so there's a chap called John who's the steward of the club, and we'd ordered our lunch, which, by the way, you've got to ring within the clubhouse. You got to ring to order your food.
I mean, that was a weird setup, wasn't it? So like Glen Eagles was brilliant, right? You're out on course, novelty. You've got a telephone, ring the halfway hook.
Made sense.
Brilliant setup. Ganton Clubhouse. You walk in, it's a relatively small clubhouse. It's not a big clubhouse, but there's just phones kind of all over the clubhouse, and you like someone on the bar, someone like at the table, and you've got to ring through to the kitchen. And there's literally a lady stood behind the other side of the wall. So you can hear it. You can hear it talking back to you without the use of the phone, just completely useless. And you have to ring through to the kitchen and put your order in and say, "Oh, it's Chris, and I'm in the study with the
Ryder Cup lounge or whatever."
whatever it is. And then they just
I'm going to say with a crowbar. Is it?
Cluedo, yeah.
yeah, well, exactly, yeah, Cluedo style. But then they just kind of walk through the clubhouse, just shouting everyone's name with these plates of food. So it was a bit of a weird setup. But I guess maybe whilst the members are there, they probably know most of the members anyway. So they maybe just walk out and hand it to the members. Maybe it works better.
Chris had done his phone ordering for the lunch, and then I went to go and get a drink, and was just like, I mean, they've got like Ganton branded honey, they've got Ganton branded ales, just everything like you can think of. It's all for sale.
For you being
It was really good. Yeah, it was good. And I had a club sandwich as well, and the bread was quite nice. Yeah, I mean, it's relative.
It's
isn't
relative,
it?
isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's nice in inverted commas. But we did all that, and then as I was sort of stood there, I saw some really old posters up, and I thought, great opportunity to get the phone out and get those. I like these kind of old, almost wartime posters type things.
Mm-hmm.
And this gentleman called John, the steward of the club, sort of he started like sort of looking at it. He was, if you want to get a picture, there's a really good list of players who've played at Ganton over here. I was like, oh yeah, great. And he was kind of like going like, looking at me like taking a lot of pictures, sort of thing. Not in any negative way. It was just like he's obviously interested. I was like, oh, well, we do a golf podcast about playing the top 100 golf courses and whatever. He was like, oh right, okay. He goes, well, I'll tell you what, give me 5 minutes and I'll come and show you around the clubhouse. And I was like, oh, well, like totally unexpected, wasn't it? In any way, shape. And actually, subsequently, I have emailed Ganton to email the general secretary just to say John was amazing, and and the staff were great, and just the fact that he showed me around the Varden room, which I could spend all day there. I mean, it was unbelievable. So they've got this whole wood panelled.
It's really beautiful, isn't it? Like, I think sometimes we've kind of derided some of the old school kind of bits of golf, but actually, it feels like a real piece of like golfing history, doesn't it? Being in there, like it's a pretty special place, isn't it?
I think that's where this event was really good for me because you. Not only have you got access to the course, for actually a really good price, middle of summer, in the course in Great Nick.
I mean, we'll come back to that later.
We'll get to the course. I'll tease you a little bit here, Jim. There is a shock revelation later on in the episode today about Ganton Golf Course. Shock revelation. Set your face to stun, ready for it. But the fact that we got that access to the Varden room kind of just really elevated that for me as well. All the perceived stuffiness that you've heard about at some of the
we didn't experience any of that at all, did we? No,
none of that. So it's a really nice way to actually go and experience a real top level club. I'd be encouraged to go and do like Sunningdales and things like that with the pairs. I think it'd be a great experience.
Yeah, it's a good
that
point.
Varden room, mate, that was something else for me.
Yeah, it was who's who of golf memorabilia, wasn't it? It's pretty cool.
They had so Harry Varden used to make his own golf balls. So he had a press, I suppose you'd call it, or a mold or whatever. And so John was telling me about it, and he said that alone there just doesn't have a price. It's that artifact there is absolutely priceless in the golf world. I was like, right, okay, fair enough. No wonder you don't allow the riffraff in there.
Exactly.
They had everything.
We shouldn't be telling him this.
They had golf balls in there. They had some of his old clubs, and then they had pictures of. And he was quite proud of telling me this. So they had pictures of the 16, 17, 18, and he said that those 3 holes they basically haven't touched and improved anything on. They're just as they were originally designed. So
I mean, again, we'll come back to that later. But I mean, it's fair play. There's no need to do anything to those holes, is there?
I mean, maybe we should just talk about that. That was a heavenly stretch of holes, wasn't it?
That's really one thing that we do need to just skip back to, because the story of Ganton doesn't actually start on the day we played Ganton, does it?
Okay.
It starts the night before, doesn't it? Nish? Do you want to tell us about your sleep?
There is no story here.
Do you want to tell us about your sleep you had pre-Ganton?
I had lovely.
Our first competitive round that we played.
Lovely
What was
sleep.
your preparation, Nish?
How many gin and tonics do you have?
I feel like sleeping out on your decking under your pergola when your wife has locked the door is underrated. I feel like it's good prep for a round.
I'm pretty sure that's what Rory does most evenings.
Yeah,
to be
and
fair,
he starts the first
pre-Masters.
holes for the 4 holes, scoring 7 on each as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen or heard from Emma ever since
She's not talking.
She's not here today
not
either.
talking to anyone.
No,
Nish or anyone related to Nish.
she's
That's
not put
she's
any messages on the group.
Just waiting for the life insurance payment, and then I can tell you what happened. I was not happy. Let me put it that way. At 4:47, I think it was eventually when the door opened.
At least it wasn't that cold.
It was surprisingly pleasant.
Surprisingly
Actually,
pleasant, that's what
and it was worth the money that I spent to be locked out. Oh, mate, it was that was a nightmare. But
What time did you have to set off?
well,
Professionalism.
we were
at its
supposed to set
best.
off before 10, weren't we? Really, and then I woke up at 10 to 10 to
Well, because it's
messages.
It's weird because normally, like on the morning of one of these things, like I'll text Nish and he's replied within like 30 seconds. He's like so eager and so excited. And I text him at like I don't know, like 7:30 or something. And I saw that like last seen on WhatsApp or whatever at like 4:45. I was like, all right, it was a late night. And then like nothing came through, and it was it must have been about 10:15. I was like, we'd originally said we'd set up about 10. It must have been about 10:15 before I actually heard anything from Nish. I was like, do we need to go around next door and like check he's okay, he's still alive? Like,
I think you did it at 4:45, mate.
Well, as it happens, I told Chris and we were sat in the car, and he was like, "I've been awake all night, mate."
Yeah, you could have just come round to mine.
Yeah, put it on the wrong WhatsApp group.
God damn it! Yeah, not Emma's finest hour. So we did all this, and I'd been geeking out in the garden room, which was unbelievable. And all the pictures will be on the website. And I took a lot because that is lovely. But I went to a grammar school and kind of wood paneling and things like that. It's standard. You kind of become a bit immune to it, but it was very, very classily done. The whole place.
Yeah, definitely.
But then we met. Didn't bump into. We knew he was playing. But we met Mark, who has been on the podcast before.
We did.
We talked about the competition
In the flesh, which was nice. Nice to
met
meet
him in
him.
the flesh, yeah. And he was with his friend Andrew, who he'd trying to play a lot of the courses with. So he's played a lot of the Scottish ones. They've just started venturing south now because it's a long way for them to travel. And then we got an invitation during lunch, which we both had to sit there and do the whole like play it cool trigger, play it cool.
Well,
we
Menard
got invited. Oh yeah, well, it wasn't that good. We got invited to go and play St Andrews next year by Andrew himself. St Andrews.
Yeah, he is the St Andrews. I mean, to us, he is the St Andrews. To be fair,
we were just like, okay, yeah.
I think when he said that, I think I thought I'd misheard him when he first said it. I was like, that can't be right. Like my brain just didn't compute it at all. And he was like, he was such a nice guy as well.
Seriously,
wasn't
like this is legit happening and I followed it up since with Mark, and he was like, "Yeah, Andrew will get on," and I was like, obviously we'd love to play with both of you. That would be fantastic. We just had a great time with him, didn't we?
Yeah, really nice boys, weren't they?
I feel like I know him quite well because we do message each other quite a lot about courses we played and stuff like that. But great to meet in person. That's always nice to cement the relationship, isn't it, a little bit more? And
then this
came up, and we were like, okay, that's like what's top 2, isn't it? I think on the list, St Andrews.
I mean, ultimately it's the top 1, isn't it? Right?
It's
the one,
place, and that's where everyone wants to play.
Yeah,
and subsequently,
so you're not doing it last course now.
Obviously.
No, take it when it comes, mate.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was the one thing that we discussed in one of the episodes. Though, is like,
but we also did say that we would try and do it on like big birthdays, and it is my 40th next year, so it's timed quite well.
Manifesting, mate. You put it out there,
yeah,
and it's happening.
Incredible.
But we did find out. So as we were talking to him, so Andrew's family are from St Andrews, so they obviously are the people that own the course and everything. So he's well connected, clearly. And he must have had a saint in his family at some point. So he said another thing that was really interesting about St Andrews, and that is on Christmas Day, you can play completely free. You just rock up.
Yeah, people just rock up. He
You
says that
queue
people rock
up
up in like
and
Santa
just-
hats and
There's loads of people on the course playing in Santa outfits.
around the
It's
old
like a big
course.
tradition in St Andrews.
Okay.
I don't know how we've never come across that
Why have we
before.
never
'Cause
heard of
like,
that?
But like, in terms of like, Instagram and stuff like that, it must be an absolute field day for those kind of things,
Exactly.
isn't it? Those pictures on
It was
Field day for
on the
Nish.
old course.
it was weird to not have ever.
Yes,
I
I've
mean,
never heard of it.
mind you, when you told me that 6 uni students get on like either do a Jeep or free, I was like, why have you not told me this before?
Oh, he was saying that they're clamping down on that, didn't he? He said that
Yes.
they're changing those rules a little bit to make it.
But that's where the invitation, which has obviously come about through Mark. We need to name check Mark as much as possible. I think Andrew's going to like that. isn't he? Yeah. Say it. How many times can we say it in a minute? But the benefit of meeting the guys was finding stuff like this out.
Yeah,
And also
exactly.
then finding out from Andrew is that it's going to become increasingly more difficult to get on to the course because of A, popularity, and B, they're trying to keep it as democratic as possible. Plus, also there are a lot of American tours come over, and they probably do have deals with the club, get it because they know it's lucrative and whatever.
Well, we've always said it, haven't we? If you can go and play with a member somewhere, someone who knows it, you just have such a
Just changes everything, doesn't it?
such a better experience, don't you?
Yeah, I think as we're going through our rounds, that does make a big difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Because even though I don't know, had Wayne and Anne Marie played Ganton before? I don't think Anne Marie had played. But
No,
had Wayne
so,
hadn't played.
I know he'd caddied there. I think he said. I think his son was a pretty
Oh,
good
okay.
golfer, amateur golfer. So I think he said he caddied there, but I'm not sure he'd ever played there before.
Yeah, okay. I'll name check Anne Marie as well because she's followed us on Instagram. So hello, Anne Marie. Yeah, it was, but he seemed to know a decent amount about the course, though, didn't he? Like,
Yeah, I think he's caddied there in.
absolute bloodhound for a ball, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, yeah.
Every
I mean,
time
they
your
were-
ball
They
went,
They were two like proper golf nuts. Like they
They were
clearly just
brilliant.
absolutely love their golf, didn't they? But
Yeah.
clearly had a lot of fun doing it as well.
as
didn't
soon as we rocked up, we're on the first set, and you don't know who the person is or anything like that. So you're like, we're going to get somebody who's really serious. We're going to get Chris, basically.
they?
Or a
And-
Paul.
Or a Paul, yeah, who's stolen my Nish Invitational trophy. But we'll get to that another time. You don't know who you get. And
Yeah,
actually,
it's a lap of
speaking
the
to
golf,
them
isn't it? Yeah.
on the 19th hole afterwards, I
Yeah.
think we had a good amount of banter with them going around. I was clearly in no fit state to play golf in that first.
I'm
5,
not.
6
I'm not
holes.
sure I saw you for more than about 5 minutes, certainly in the front nine of that that course.
So I was no fit state to play whatsoever. However, so I managed to rumble through somehow. And then we just kind of chatted away. And I think it was kind of surface level, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's sometimes often a bit like that on the golf course, aren't you? 'Cause
Yeah.
you can focus on your next shot or whatever, and you're in the moment,
and it's
sort
a
of thing.
tough course.
And it demanded that, right, Ganton? I think every single shot, you have to be absolutely on the money, thinking about it, very strategically about where you're going to hit your next shot, where you want to hit your next shot from.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
too.
It's a strategy course.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
really is.
So
I mean,
inland links course, they could describe it as we mentioned last.
Yeah, I mean, it's
of
yeah.
golf off
There's no
line.
such thing as an inland links, but I think that's their
But in terms
that's
of
how
the
they
style,
bill it. Yeah, ultimately, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
which I think is probably about right because there's a good amount of there was a lot of sand,
Was it 120 bunkers?
something like that. Yeah, it's
Should we-
getting
yeah.
up
Should we have a
to-
bit of a chat about the bunkering because it's always one of those things that I think when you read through like the top 100 golf reviews, people always talk about bunkering. And I've never really kind of bought into that. I was like, well, yeah,
whatever.
the bunkers are there, and sometimes you go in them, sometimes you don't.
Right, I'm fascinated to know what he's going to say now.
Well, no, and I know we shouldn't be talking about bunkering because it's banned on the podcast. But I think that was the first time that I've really fully appreciated what people are talking about when they're talking about bunkering, because those bunkers were just absolutely on every hole, perfectly placed to influence
you
your
mean
strategy.
positions of the bunkers?
Like the
yeah.
positions of the bunkers.
Okay.
Like there's not a single wasted bit of sand on that golf course. Like every single bunker there has a
Yeah.
purpose. Sometimes you go and play and you go like play one of these big American courses. There's a massive bunker like 120 yards down the fairway. It's just totally wasted.
Yeah.
It doesn't provide.
Looks nice.
Looks nice, and it
nice
doesn't
aesthetics,
provide any
yeah.
kind of like additional challenge. But I think every single bunker around that course is in exactly the right place. I don't think you'd move a single one of them.
Yeah, and I know. I mean, I'm going to call you a geek for saying that. But,
Thanks.
But I do
Service.
agree with you. Actually, we talked about this sort of after we'd gone through like 15 minutes of just going St Andrews. We're playing St Andrews. So there was that. Thanks again, Mark. But
So we did that before you played.
he told us this before we played because we didn't play with Mark. Mark's
Of course,
teeing
yeah.
off later, but yeah, it was. We did talk about like bunkers and stuff like because made my feelings on Woodall Spa perfectly clear in that
Did you?
it was overly penal, and I
Yeah.
think it was bunkers for bunkers' sake.
And I think when we played Wall Spa, I don't think I thought that. But now I've played Ganton, I actually
Now you know what good bunkering
I've
is.
changed my mind. I think actually Woodall Spa is over the top in terms of his bunkering. I don't think it needs to be that hard and penal.
Correct.
I think this is perfectly the right amount to make you think about every single shot. And if you hit a bad shot, you're going to go in a bunker. You're going to get punished.
Yeah.
It's not totally severely. It's not impossible to get out. You're going to have some difficult bunker shots, but it's not overly penal. I don't think.
I mean,
where you need a ladder to go down into the sandpit.
Yeah, there were some deep bunkers.
some
Don't get
deep
me wrong, 'cause
bunkers,
Anne-Marie,
yeah.
bless her, Anne-Marie found quite a lot of them. She was having a bad time of it, really, wasn't she? With
Yeah,
the
I mean,
number
she
of
might as well
bunkers.
have been at the seaside for 50% of the round.
Take your bucket
I mean, a few of those have written it was baking hot that day. Like, full on
It
hot
was.
again. Classic top 110 golf weather.
No.
And we were all pretty sweaty and sticky. And then the fact that she kept ending up in this sand and it was flying up and like it was all over her, stuck to her legs. It was like, oh, God, poor thing.
I think we're becoming like the number one contributor to global warming.
I think we are.
Doing these top 100 courses because every time we play, it's like 28 degrees and
Or
absolutely,
methane emissions or something are doing it. But it was,
A lot of hot air anyway.
I think, touche. I think you can still play poorly and not hit that many bunkers though, because I didn't play well in that front
Yeah,
nine, and I
no.
didn't hit that many bunkers during the whole round, really.
And I think they almost make you think and strategize more
Correct.
than they actually like being overly penal. So I don't think you're not just in them all the time if you hit a slightly off
Yeah,
track
yeah.
shot, but they're always in the right place for you to go right. Okay,
I think I
I
hit.
need to hit a certain
Looking at
shaped
my
shot.
shot
Or,
tracers, I hit 2 bunkers, and the annoying thing with that is both of those bunkers I hit a really good shot. So it was on that par 3, and it was a par 4 that was drivable.
yeah,
The first one I stuck out of band, and the second one I went and like, absolutely cracked it.
yeah,
And if it had maybe 2 feet of right to left movement, I would have missed that bunker and it would have been on the green, perfect.
yeah,
I was like, oh, that's annoying.
yeah.
But fine, I'll take the strike. And then the other one was on the 17th, which is a brutally hard par 3. It's like 220 yards
It's longer than that. Wasn't it?
uphill.
240 yards.
It's
Is
playing
it?
uphill, and there's a big bunker on the side, one at the back, all this kind of thing.
And there's massive sand scrape down the down the left
how
hand
do you
side.
like? What do you play? Is like, right, I play something that if it lands short, it might run up whatever. And I hit my 3 hybrid, which I hit a couple really well yesterday when we were playing, and it took off the
Yeah.
club. And I'm looking at it going, like it was on the line of the flag, and it just clipped the edge of the like just before the bunker, and then just veered off and into the bunker. I was like, so close.
I think that's definitely the hardest par 3 we played so far.
That
I
was
mean, it's
a
brilliant. It's a
soft par
beautiful
3.
hole and it's a great hole. But
Green
it's
was
tough.
really hard as well. Normally,
even
when it's
once you-
that long, and
You get a bit of leeway when you get there.
none of that
No.
upturn bowl. Like, it's gonna loads of undulation. And I think there'd been had there been another comp on something? But I think the pin positions were pretty hard when we played.
Yeah,
Some of them, they
I
were
mean,
all
the thing
lots of
is,
tucked away.
it was so hard because it's been so dry recently that
That's
everything
true.
was just rock hard. I mean, I think someone said the greens were like 14 on the stimp meter or 13 or 14 on the stimp meter.
Were they?
They were absolutely rapid, weren't they?
That
They were-
might be why I've written here that it was quite, and we said it was quite easy to rack up a 7, notwithstanding hangovers, but it was quite easy to just like you could hit the green quite easily in something like me playing to my handicap on a par 4, you get there in 3, and you could very easily 3 or 4 putt.
Yeah,
because they were tough.
really tough
greens.
green, but kind of fair. You know, sometimes you get on greens. And you're
Not
like,
one ball bobbled.
No, not a single bubble. Like,
On our full 4 ball, not one ball bobbled.
yeah,
It was that pristine. It
by
was like
far
putting
and
on the
away-
carpet. They're the best greens we played.
by far and away the best greens. And I think by far and away the best quality of golf course. Like you standing on the tees and you put in a tee peg and you're like, this is better than a lot of greens that I've played on. Like it was just immaculate,
It
wasn't
was
it? From tee to
immaculately
green, like,
presented
just-
golf course. Another thing I
yeah.
said in the emails, like, it's bearing in mind the weather we've had.
Yeah,
Credit to you.
yeah. How they've kept it in that good condition, I've no idea.
Yeah. So the course was like absolutely magnificent. There were also I've got a couple of notes here as well. Like, there were a few sort of sneakily hidden bunkers. There were a few that we sort of you couldn't see, could you? There's a couple of shots
I
you
hit
like,
what I
actually
thought
for
was a
you.
beautiful shot.
Yeah.
It was only short. I was only short irons, like 120 yards. I'd kind of laid up on one of the short par 4s, and I'd hit what I thought was an absolute bob on spot, right on the flag. It had landed, I don't know, a couple of yards short, and then there's just a big kind of cut out of the green, but you can't see it from back in the fairway. so it kind of all slides away and all goes down into the bunker. And then I mean, that was I think it was the toughest shot I hit all day. So it went right into the back of the bunker. So there's a downslope. It's a really big bunker face, and I probably only got about 3 or 4 paces from on the side of the green, to where the pin was. So yeah, I duly hit that about 50 yards over the green into a bush. So I passed that test. But
you did say chip it in. I'll chip
but
it in.
after that, what happened, Nish? So yeah, I pitched another one which went through the green. I think Nish must have been on for a 5 or something, and he missed his putt, so he got a 6. So I was just at the side of the green about to pick my ball up, and he missed his tiny putt. I was like, oh, fucking hell, Nish.
In this really serious competition that we weren't doing anything else.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I'll just chip this one in then, Nish. And it was about a 25, 30 yard chip shot, like quite undulating around the corner. So I just like chipped it up onto the bank and just rolled it in the hole. Perfect for a point. So it was a valuable point. We didn't score many points that day. So
who needs the putt when you can do that?
Well, I mean, yeah, if I could just do that every time, I'd be quite a good golfer.
And one of the things that I have actually not mentioned when we were talking about the clubhouse was, and I don't believe this, but we were told that the Ryder Cup replica that's in the clubhouse is not solid gold. There's no way.
I think you were told a tall tale there, Nish.
Is it like to test out whether it makes it into the podcast?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Let's see what happens. But there's a bit of a Moortown resemblance to that clubhouse.
Well, I mean, because that's what Moortown was.
Is that right?
Yeah, so that's what it was modelled on, right? So even the clubhouse looks pretty much the same as Ganton's, doesn't it? Like Ganton's is older and kind of a bit more traditional. I mean, I guess Moortown's fairly traditional, but Ganton felt older and more.
The lockers and stuff like they're all.
Yeah,
in fact, the lockers always looked identical, didn't they?
It was a very similar
wood
feel, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was great. Like very historic place. I think if you can get on, I would. This isn't a plug necessarily for the event, but getting on something like that, giving you the full access is worth it for Ganton. It's worth it for a historic club. And again, one of the things that I mentioned in the preview was, is it one of the best golf clubs you've never heard of? Because I'd never heard of Ganton. The name had never, because it's not on any open circuits or anything like that.
It's a funny one because I think, like I said last time, I think in the amateur world, it's probably up there as one of the real top courses. But I guess if you've not played kind of amateur golf.
Well, I thought it has held it's held the Ryder Cup.
It's held the Ryder Cup. Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, I think you can see why it's historically has got lots of accolades and probably more recently doesn't have, because it's a traditional kind of test of golf, isn't it? Like I think I probably only hit driver twice that day. As it in irons off every tee, because it's not about distance. It's all about keeping the ball in play and strategy and giving yourself the right shot into the green. So yeah, it's definitely a kind of an old school test of golf, which I love, because I love those kind of short par 4 strategy holes. That's my favourite thing. Yeah, and I think there was so many of them at Ganton that I was just like a pig in shit. I was having a great time.
Yes, Sandy. Yes,
Sandy.
It was. Yeah, it's very strategic. It's a purist's golf course. That I think that's how I'd describe it.
I don't know. I think anyone who plays there would.
No, I think you'd enjoy it. But what I mean is, you would, if you're a golfing nut. Yeah, and then in that case, you either played it all your life. Therefore, you do know about the amateur game and stuff like that. So you know about Ganton. Because all the people that I've sort of connected with through doing this on social media and whatever. Yeah. The second you mention you've just played Ganton, like, oh, what do you think? What do you think? It's like everyone's, proper course. Yeah. And I think that's where the esteem and the reputation and the rankings come from. I think, don't they?
And it's almost kind of hard to put your finger on sometimes, isn't it? Because it's sort of intangible, but you just come away with this feeling of it just being a really special thing that you've just done. Yeah. And that's definitely the biggest feeling that I've had of that so far coming off Ganton. I kind of came away going, that was just mega. I
feel it's time.
Is it time?
It's time.
Yeah, I think so.
It's time to let you know what this shocking revelation was, Jim.
I think we can do the scores.
Oh, we will do the scores in a minute. That's almost by the by.
Shocking revelation. I thought
there was a shock revelation. It will be on the full playing the course video, because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. But I'm walking up, and it must have been. I'm thinking we're walking up something like maybe 3/4 of the way through the round, so maybe talking something like 14, 15.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
And Mr. Gibbons from Cumbria turns around and says to me, I think I like this better than Silith. And it gets worse, Jim. It gets worse. He's gonna. He won't be allowed back in. He won't be allowed back in. He went.
Sorry, Cumbria.
And I think it's measurably better than Silith. Not just better, measurably better than Silith.
But I mean, and I've said this to you before, and then like
That's
had an
huge.
absolute turnaround a couple of days after, and gone, actually, do you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Yeah,
I take it back, Silith.
Ganton was head and shoulders above Silith for me.
It was amazing, wasn't it? It was an amazing course.
It was.
High praise indeed.
It's not my number one.
Is it not?
No,
Interesting.
it's not my number one. My number was still Queen's at Glen Eagles.
Right, wow.
That still had everything for me because it
Yeah.
had experience, it had history, it had the fun element. The look at my level.
Yeah.
I mean, I've looked back at the course. Probably should, let's quickly glance at scores. We won't go dwell on it too much, but I've shot a 106. It's probably my third worst round, I think, in this here. It didn't. If the 106 is a lot of that is due to I just didn't show up the first 6-7 holes. I didn't do anything, and then
We were significantly hungover.
it clicked at around. There's a par 3, wasn't there? And suddenly I hit a good tee shot, and then suddenly I started being able to do something with my tee shots. But I don't think it was overly penal. Like I didn't land in many bunkers, and I've learned actually from. I'm taking something from each course I'm playing. So from Ganton, what I've picked up is, they're strategically placed, but some of those bunkers aren't strategically placed for you in your game. So I average 245 with my driver.
Yeah.
There's a bunker at 200. It's not in play.
Yeah.
I'm clearing that.
Yeah.
So you ignore that, and I used that actually in the most recent round we just played. That there's bunkers there at 180, 190. I've got my driver out. It's not a thing. In fact, I'm aiming for them because I'm going to clear that.
Yeah.
So that has changed my sort of mentality as to how I view it. But it was with the kind of I shot a 90, a 94. So
Yeah, because I didn't play well either, did I? Really?
No,
neither of us
of us
played
did.
well. Well, in fact, we both played pretty poorly, I think, by our own standards. But I think even still, and we've said it before, it's quite hard to detach having a bad round from a good course kind of thing.
Yeah.
But actually, for Ganton, even though I played badly,
Even with a bad round,
I absolutely just loved every single hole. I think it's the first round that we played where I think every single one of those holes has got like a real. You've got to hit the right shot in the right place, like a real strategic.
There wasn't really a dull hole on that.
No, I think like the
course,
first 3 were maybe the first 3 is probably relatively easy opener. I think beyond that, once you get to the fourth is that beautiful little par 4. I think after that, it's just glorious. I think hole after hole.
Yeah.
And in terms of the holes, obviously, are there any that stand out as that you would consider including in the top 18?
Yeah.
We sort of mentioned it previously. The 16, 17, 18 stretch is fantastic.
Yeah.
The 18th is an interesting hole, actually. It probably shouldn't really feel that outstanding because you have to approach the green over the driveway that we just mentioned. It's a long driveway and all that kind of thing. But and on the 17th, that par 3, which is really long and brutal, teeing off over the road. Usually roads kind of ruin that kind of thing, don't they? But
but it just adds to it. Just because it's that little lane with the little white fence, it just adds to the field, doesn't it?
Kind of creates a bit more drama.
Yeah, and it's got this huge, massive sand scrape that kind of covers both those. So the 18th, you're teeing off over this. Looks like a desert almost. It's so big, doesn't it? It's just massive.
Yeah.
It's not actually that difficult a tee shot, but it looks really imposing.
Pick a line,
doesn't
go
it?
for it.
It's only an iron off the tee and then a short iron into the greens. It's not a particularly difficult hole, but it just looks absolutely stunning.
Yeah, but we did mention this, didn't we, on the way back? Like, is there anything you're putting on towards Dream 18 out of those?
So definitely the 18th.
Putting 18th.
And also the 12th. So the 12th.
I can't remember the 12th.
So the 12th is not, and I think the only reason I picked the 12th out is because I think it epitomises. Exactly that. I think it just epitomises Ganton and the way everything is thought of in terms of the way that course is set up. And you're teeing off, and it's an iron off the tee for me, and there's a set of trees down the right hand side, and there's a gap in the trees, and then another lone tree, and that's exactly the route that you need to go down. If you want to go route 1, you could go through that gap, and you got to aim for it. And if you go left, there's a couple of kind of bunkers left. If you go short, there's a couple of bunkers that's short there. And if you go long, there's another bunker beyond it. So you've literally got to hit the perfect tee shot. It's not. I think that this is what they do really well. Is you've got to hit a really good shot. It's not an overly difficult shot. So I think I hit like a 5 iron off the tee. you're not having to get your driver out and find a spot, but you can get an iron out and find the right spot in the fairway, and you've got an easy shot in. If you miss that, you're going to have a really difficult second. And I think the 12 just absolutely epitomises the way that Ganton is set up to
I've got my
provide that kind of
shot
challenge.
map on, and I'm still struggling to visualise that hole, actually.
Obviously,
Oh,
obviously it was less memorable
Yes,
for me.
I do remember now. Yes, yeah, because I hit my drive long, didn't I? And it went through the back.
Yeah.
Yay. I do remember now. I hit a great drive, and I was like, oh, man, it's got too far. It did too well.
But that's it, though, isn't it? Because and that's it. That's the challenge of it, isn't it? Right?
Yeah,
You've got to hit
yeah.
the right shot at the right time.
Yeah, 12th. Now I know. Yeah, which one it was.
So I'd put that up for. I'm happy for it to be batted back from you, but for me, I think that just epitomised Ganton and the challenge that it sets.
Yeah, reject.
Geek.
I thought. Do you know what? I thought. For me personally, out of those 4, so we're saying 16, 17, 18 were great.
Yeah.
12th. The 16th really did it for me. I
Yeah,
played
that was
that.
nice.
I did actually play that really, really well. I absolutely cracked my drive right down the middle, caught a down slope to the bunker again, and just rolled out, and it was right down the middle.
Yeah.
But they had the bunkers with the vertical sleepers, but it was such a beautifully designed bunker. It's not in play at all, because it's only like 80 yards ahead of you. But it's just visually, it's just there to break the hole up.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Jim.
Everything's in play for me.
Visually breaks it up, but that to me felt like S&A took inspiration for their signature hole.
Just did it less well.
Cumleys or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Built that, but just
Yeah.
put it in either the wrong place or just didn't do it. I didn't feel they did it right.
Yeah.
That's just reminded me actually, because we played Matt yesterday. So Matt was like, "So where does S&A rank on you?" Then I was like, "Don't want to tell you, Matt. Maybe you don't need to know yet."
I mean, the thing is about these rankings is they're all great, right? So it's
Every course is great.
yeah. But I mean, for Ganton, I think there's multiple holes that I could put in there. I could put 4.
Yeah, I think you were quite happy to. Yeah,
I was going around and said, do you know what, Nish? I could put most of these holes in, but I think for me, I could put 4 in there. Is a great short par 4. 14, I love a short par 4. I think they were 2 really good short par 4s.
Yeah.
I like both of those.
There was a really good gathering of holes there.
Yeah.
That flow really well.
Yeah. I think we've got to put at least 2 in from Ganton because I think they were the best set of holes we played. So I think 18 and 16.
18, 16.
I agree on those.
I'll go with 18, 16.
I'd
I mean,
put
those sand
both
scrapes
those in.
are worth having in somewhere, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, we are talking. It's like 100 yards long bunker. But also, curiously, so they're called what are they called now? Pandies. They're called.
Yeah.
Don't know why. Even John the Steward was like, they call them pandies. I don't know why they call them pandies, but whatever. Oh, do you know?
No, I don't know. But I was just saying. But have you gone back and looked at the course flyover since we played it?
No.
So I just done that this morning to try and remind myself of all the holes.
Yeah.
And it's completely different. So they're obviously pre the changes. So that hole 8 and 9, where they've got those massive pandies all the way down the side.
They're not
you
there.
walk through that boardwalk.
Yeah.
None of that's there. It's all gorse and trees and stuff.
Oh,
Just completely changed. But that
in the early part of the round, because you
that
didn't even
whole
mention that in the early bit. Yeah.
8 and 9, because they were. It's like that bit where you walk through the boardwalk. You look like a British seaside, don't you? At the beach,
Yeah.
it's
Those
pretty stunning.
pandies, interestingly, are not classed as bunkers, so you can ground your club in them. They're classed as wasteland. So if anybody's listening and they're looking for some...
Judging by Jim's face, that wasn't that interesting, I don't think.
No, he wasn't that interested.
Okay, really? Sorry.
Talking about course flyovers, Chris, no course map available.
Course map.
That's
What?
got to count against you, hasn't it? How can you run out of course maps?
Yeah, well, they said they're not
Well,
all...
they did have them, but they just didn't run out.
Well, because
they're not getting any more. They're not getting any more this year.
Yeah.
So anybody playing this year is not going to be able to get a course map there, which I find borderline scandalous.
Especially as I'm collecting them as my top
Yeah.
memorabilia.
Well,
It's going to be like
Andrews,
99.
St Andrew, who's getting us onto St Andrews,
we do have to call him that from now on.
we have to.
Is he St. Andrews?
Saint he has his collectible is.
Yeah, he
map
was
as
saying
well,
the
and he's
same
like,
thing,
I've driven
yeah.
all this way from Glasgow, and I can't pick up the collectible that I get.
Yeah. We'll have to write a nice letter to Ganton. So when they do get them back in, see if they can post one out to us.
Post one out. Yeah, maybe I've established contact with the general secretary, so maybe I should mention that.
So obviously, as a Ryder Cup venue in the past, it was
Formal match play.
Formal match play. Obviously, you were in a competition anyway, so just adds
Yeah.
something else into the mix there.
I mean, Chris clearly wiped the floor with me, but what are we on? Level after the first. Chris goes 1 up after 2, 2 up after 3, 3 up after 4.
I won,
6,
basically.
7, 8. Yeah, you would have won the match. What point would you have won the match? Because it doesn't go right to the end, does it?
Yeah, probably.
You would have won
Probably
like
6 up or something. Just by the time you'd sobered up, I'd won.
yeah, I did click it. I sort of I parred that par 3, and I just went. I've decided I'm going to turn up now, and actually I had a pretty good back
You did
9.
actually. You had a little run then, didn't you?
Yeah, it was good. It was 50 on the back 9, so I was quite happy with that. You know, would have set me up okay, but yeah, and then
with the side bet as well, which
yeah, let's have a look. Actually, I've not checked this, Jim, so I'll do this live. So the first par 3 we both did in 4.
So just to clarify for everyone listening, it was the side bet was the lowest total score on all the
threes.
par
Yes, we
threes.
both got 4s on that. The second
Wasn't my greatest day on the 3s, actually, was it?
Second par 3, I got a par. Chris got 4, so I'm 1 shot better off there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only 3 par 3s on this course. So the last one, Chris was 1 shot better. So actually, it was all square on the side bet. Yeah.
What are we doing?
Does that mean you have to do a forfeit, Jim?
Sorry?
Does that mean you have to do a forfeit?
Well, you're yeah. What's like? You could do something like anybody who parred a par 3 wins it.
You could do a back 9 playoff. Does that benefit me?
We need to
Back
clarify
hole
all these
playoff.
rules, but in advance because I know how competitive you two can be.
I think we can have draws. I think
And-
draws is fine. We're doing 100 of these. I think a draw is
Fine,
okay.
A draw's fine.
Absolutely fine. No problem.
And signature hole was the 18th.
Yeah, good signature hole.
Great
I
signature
think.
hole.
Yeah, good signature hole.
But we got wrapped up in the midst of competition and having fun and completely forgot to film it, didn't we?
Didn't film it. Yeah. I think this is the thing. That problem, isn't it? It's like when you got so much going on.
It's a different experience, isn't it? I think when there's just the two of us going round, we're kind of like very much.
We're a bit
in
under the pump
podcast
as well.
sort
So
of
I think
mindset and
we're probably a little bit behind the group ahead as well. So with the par 4, so it was a bit like two other people better. Get a bit going
kind of
and
keeping pace.
Let's not keep them held up. And it was. We were pretty hot and bothered by that point, pretty sticky. So it was like just get a drink quickly. Yeah, I mean, what Chris got? You got 4, did you? I think. On the last
think so. Yeah, on the last one, maybe a 5. Yeah,
Was it
5. Yeah, it was 5.
So, my score, I think, doesn't really reflect how I think.
Reflects the size of the hangover, probably.
Yeah,
I think so. I think it very
I've looked at
reflects
my.
that.
I said before we came on that I've looked at my shot maps. I thought I had a bit of a rota around. But I actually looked at shot maps, and it's not actually that bad. So you just have to sometimes look at it in the fullness of time, don't you, and think whether it's good or not. But where did you rank stuff, Chris? Like, I mean, Clubhouse for me is like it's right up there.
Definitely, yeah.
Might actually be the best I think I've been in that Clubhouse.
I thought Glen Eagles would still be.
I mean, Glen Eagles. The
Glen Eagles
hotel
hotel
is
though,
so I think the actual
Glen Eagles
clubhouse
was
is
okay. Glen Eagles like had all the big dog facilities. I think.
Yeah.
This had like I don't know, history.
Yeah.
You know, you got all the pictures up everywhere, and
Yeah.
there was a picture of Gary Wilson.
Gary Wilson
up
was there, yeah.
That was good.
So I'd ranked it similar to Moortown and SNA.
Yeah,
sort of
they were
7,
really good
'cause
clubhouses.
they were really good. I'd maybe I could be pushed to pop it up a little bit. That's what I think. Yeah, 7.
It's very generous of you. What about the course? I mean,
Yeah, like I said, I think it's heading. I'm pretty sure that's going to be in my top 10.
yeah, top 10. Do you think
Top 10
there'd be
overall.
9 better than that?
There's going to be some better than that. There's some big courses out there, some big hitters, but I think it's going to be in my top 10.
That's a good golf course. Yeah. I think it's not as Woodall Spa, not for the faint-hearted, but I think you could go there
I
even
think
with a looser game, and you could probably still have a really good time.
still have a nice time. Yeah, I think it's I think it's the exact right level of challenge. I think
It's a good mix, isn't it? I mean, you'd expect these courses to be tough.
Yeah, and look, we're going to go and play some that are really long, and like Hoy Lake are going to be genuinely really hard golf courses to play.
Yeah.
But I think that was the perfect level for me. It was the perfect level of enjoyment. I couldn't play well. I didn't score
I'd agree with
well.
that. Yeah,
I think it was
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
So I've got 9.5 for the course. I think that's.
Oh
that's
wow,
gonna go
9.5.
Yeah, big hitter.
Ooh, that is a big hitter.
Yeah.
You're gonna start getting into like 9.6.
well. 9.6, 2, 3, 4 recurring.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I mean, for me, it probably gets into the top 3. Probably I think still Queen's Course at Glen Eagles was great for me.
Right.
Because it had all the elements of I sort of mentioned
Yeah.
the clubhouse experience, the halfway hut stuff. You know, I love all that novelty stuff. It's great. And then the course was immensely playable.
Yeah.
And it was fun as build.
Yeah.
And like you come off it, and you go, that is a place you could go to. And even if you didn't go to the clubhouse, like you just played that again. We summed it up. We want to play it again. It was that good.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of gives you a measure of where it is.
Yeah, I'd love to go back. I'd go back in a heartbeat. I'd play that anytime.
If you're listening, Mr. General Secretary.
I guess it was quite a long day. It was a long day on the course, wasn't it? I think we were out about 5 hours, weren't we? So
it was, and I think that's probably what led to us not being able to film the signature.
Yeah.
It was like, it's a long round of golf. Isn't it strange though when the heat styles up? It just becomes difficult.
Everything just gets slower, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Everyone just walks slower, plays slower.
Correct.
Like it just happens. It's like Royal St David's. That day was really hot, and that was a really slow day as well, wasn't it? I think it just people just get slower.
Yeah, hot weather, very very hot. It was that day. I think that kind of covers it, really. I'm really glad we played this in the first year, actually. Me personally, because I think it's a really nice benchmark.
I think that's the benchmark for me.
It is the benchmark now. Very very high praise for Ganton.
Yeah.
And what a wonderful treat we've got that there are 24 better ranked courses on our list.
Exactly.
Which ones get better than Ganton? Jim, would you like to know anything else about Ganton?
No, I want to play it now.
You should.
I think
it's one of those ones that you could go and play, and you would have a tough day, but I think you'd have an enjoyable day for sure.